Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we are playing some more Dimir Faeries. I hope people are not getting tired of this deck, because I'm a big fan, and because I'm planning to take it currently, although we'll see if I change my mind in the next 4 days, planning to take it to Paupergenesis, which is on Sunday, and so I wanted to get some more practice in. So this is the exact deck list that I'm currently thinking about taking. Obviously, maybe I'll make some minor changes, but this is what I've been liking quite a bit for a while. So pretty standard, traditional Dimir Faeries control. It's not too... It's pretty similar to like Barf's more recent lists, Barf being one of the best Dimir Faeries pilots. But he's been kind of going more like Dimir tempo, still kind of control, like somewhere in between, where he cuts the Murmuring Mystics, the Gurmag Anglers, and just puts more ninjas in. And I just think that there are some matches where you just need a Murmuring Mystic, and so I'm not quite there. I still have some of these traditional win cons. But anyway, we are down to 1 Mystic, 1 Gurmag Angler, 2 Thorns of the Black Rose, 2 Ninja of the Deep Hours. That doesn't sound right. Pretty sure I play 3 of those. Did I cut one of those for something? Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm pretty sure I play 3 ninjas. This is 61 cards. Okay, well, apparently I made some mistake. I think I was looking at my in-paper list, and I think for some reason I was on 3 Brainstorms, which seems crazy, because this card's really good. And 2 Dispel is pretty good, but, well, I guess we're going to make a couple changes here, and maybe it won't be the exact list that I'll be playing, but whatever. Hey, Marsh, good to catch you live. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Shade Blade. Anyway, so we're going to be taking this list to Paupergenesis as soon as I make a couple cuts. I feel like Brainstorm's probably better than Preordain, so maybe I can cut one of those, although I like the cantrips. I guess I have 8 removal spells plus Suffocating Fumes. Could cut like a Cast Down. I just feel like this deck needs 65 cards is the big thing. We'll run it without the Brainstorm that I've been cutting. No, we'll leave the Brainstorm in. We'll cut a Preordain and see if there's any problem there. Anyway, we have a bunch of cantrips, of course, fairies to get some early advantage and late advantage, counter spells, removal spells, you know the drill. A Pajuka Bog, Contaminated Aquifer, Contaminated Landscape, Islands, a single Swamp, and a bunch of Lorien Reveals. Then in our sideboard currently we got 2 Hydro, 2 Blue Elemental Blast, 3 Annul, Okiba Gang Shinobi, 2 Arms of Adar, Extract a Confession, and 2 Relics of Progenitus. That's only 13 cards. What is going on here? Well, I have my actual fairies list right here, so what sideboard cards am I missing? This is a great way to start both a video and a stream, to not know what on earth we're doing. There's supposed to be 2 more Hydros. That's what I thought. This was a list that I had submitted somewhere else, and apparently somewhere things got messed up. Okay. Here we are. This is the list. Let's just take it into a league and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. Alright, here we are for round 1. We'll of course be on the play, and this hand looks pretty good. Have you officially picked fairies? I will not have officially picked anything until the deadline for the deck list submission, but this is where I'm heavily leaning, probably like 80%. It was this and Grixis Affinity were the last 2 that I was really contemplating, and I've gone for this because, or at least currently I'm thinking about going for this, because I think I'm just more comfortable with it. Grixis Affinity might be the more generically powerful deck, but it also has draws that are pretty bad, where it draws all card draw or it draws all lands or something like that. And I like to have cantrips and stuff so that I can actually have some selection, because Grixis has a crazy powerful draw engine, but no card selection. And so sometimes it just gets those bad draws. We'll preordain to see if I find a ninja, which I do. Might as well keep another preordain. And yeah, so I think fairies I'm just a little more comfortable with and can play a little bit better, I guess. Yeah, no selection in that deck makes me really not like it. Yeah, sometimes the deck plays really smooth and sometimes it doesn't, and you're just kind of at the whim of the luck of the draw. And I'm not a big fan of that. Obviously, there's always luck in every version that you play, but yeah, if I can just be a little less susceptible to that because I have a bunch of cantrips. I think that's what I want to do. All right, they miss a land drop. They do kill the ninja, but would have liked to have that with the ninja, but that's okay. I can replay Augur. Spellbomb, we don't really care about. The only thing that Spellbomb interacts with in our deck is Gurmag Angler and in the sideboard, Extract Confession, so I don't really care. Play this and pass. I always flood. Yeah, it's, you know, I have plenty of games where I don't flood against, or playing Grixis, but sometimes I do. Preordained Gaming, yeah. Trying something different today. Refurb. I guess Agony Warp kills this. I think I'm just going to discard Bog. I don't really need it. Most Grixis Affinity decks have, or Grixis Affinity, Jund Wildfire decks have stopped playing, what's it called? Stopped playing Blood Fountain. Sometimes they play one Pulse of Marasa, but that's not really a reason for a Bog, so we get the Ninja. They might chump if they're worried about a Ninja, which would be great for us, because we obviously don't have it. But I think I'm just playing Alorian here. I tap out, but like I don't really have anything to protect or counter spells to interact with them anyway. All right, they take it. And, you know, Alorian's not bad. Set up a better turn next time. Those are some pretty good draws. Curious whether Hypergeomancer or people inspired by him will try more draw simulations like he did for Grixis Affinity. Yeah, that video was incredible. And I think when I play Grixis Affinity, I'm probably going to take his mana-based suggestions because it seemed pretty well thought out. So yeah, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. I would love to see some more things like that. Ooh, Mystic's really good too. I kind of want to Thorn. I can Thorn, Agony Warp this, snuff this out, but I could just Mystic, do those, and then I have a bunch of birds. And then next turn I could Thorn with a counterspell up. I was playing Black Sacrifice against Cyclestorm, and I was able to Stamina a Mesmeric Fiend twice, then unearth it. Are you proud of me? I'm extremely proud of you. That's awesome. Thorn's pretty good. They only have 3 cards. Yeah, I think we just bury them in card advantage. Probably technically I should cast this first, but they have only colorless mana, so I don't know what they could do to interact with it. But if this somehow doesn't resolve and this guy survives, then it's pretty bad to put the Monarch on the field because I can't snuff it out. I saw that video. Hope that happens for Monstertron on what are keepable. Yeah. Hypergeomancer's videos are always great, and I highly suggest them. Anybody who wants to check them out. So I could snuff this out now, which means they can't like Fanatical Offering it. They have a Wellspring, so it's probably not that big of a deal. And I kind of want them to have to spend a cast down on this Thorn, because otherwise I'm just happy to trade these off. Ooh, another snuff out. Pretty good. I do think that there are things his calculations intentionally didn't touch, like a basic for initiative or Bojuka Bog for Graveyard Hate. Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff that you could include that you're not going to, and he specifically mentioned that he was not talking about the basic because he was just talking about like the affinity count and all that stuff. Okay. Well, he can't give it Death Touch because then it would kill the Chrysalis, so he's just going to sacrifice these 3 artifacts, and then I get to snuff out the Chrysalis, so that's not bad for us. Hypergeomancer did do videos already for Monstertron Red Rally. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's already done quite a few on like keepable hands and chances of flipping Delver, chances of hitting off your Augur or your Militia Bugler and stuff like that. Not playing a weird brew. Ugh. I know. Can't believe I'm not playing. I can't believe I would play a meta deck. A deck that anybody's ever heard of. It's outrageous. It's unfair. They only sacked 1 spawn. They should probably sack the other before it dies. But we'll let the first one resolve to see if maybe they make that mistake and don't sack it. Which I guess doesn't matter because we can snuff this out. But first Bosch and Roll and now you. I can't believe Bosch and Roll would betray us by playing a real deck. All right, we'll just kill this. Everyone on Blue Black Fae? Who's everyone? What's the point of going to Paupergenesis if not for winning in style with bad cards? You know, I thought very heavily of playing Black Sack just so that I could win, quote, win in style, and decided that I'd rather have a better chance of actually winning. That's a tough call. Probably Dispel. Yeah, I guess Dispel's the one I can hold up with Brainstorm to protect this, but obviously Counterspell is just pretty good. Perfect. I can do both of those then. So Mystic, I can get birds to block this, so I don't need to worry about it hitting us. Have you tried out Temur Scred, by the way? Gonna build it for the next season. Do not answer yet. I need to check the oven. Okay. Remind me in a couple minutes. Another refurb. I could just discard an island, save the counterspell for something else. I'm obviously making birds anyway. Let's brainstorm and see what's up. People thinking they could just copy Barf. Yeah, and have all this skill. There we go. So we'll counter the cast down. If they got another cast down, that's fine. I still have a bunch of birds. Let's go. All right. Yeah, we don't need snuff out right now, so we'll put it on the bottom so that we can draw it with the auger. We'll keep the landscape, so we'll just discard an island here. They have a Wellspring. No attacks. We draw a landscape, auger. I'll get a snuff out at worst. All right. Then play Fairy Seer, Spell Stutter, and a Thorn. We don't really need Thorn, but I'll keep a Spell Stutter to counter 2-drop. Play this. We'll attack for 1. Pass the turn. We'll draw that Spell Stutter. Chris is fine. You're back. Your question was, have you tried out Temur Scred, by the way? Gonna build it for next season. I think I've played Dimir Faeries once on the channel, but it was a while ago. It is a deck that I've been looking at playing at least once on the channel. You can stop not answering. And yeah, someone at our locals actually just built it, and so I think it could be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, I should probably counter this so that I don't lose my Mystic. They have the artifacts for it. Can't believe you didn't bring 5-color homebrew legendary creatures only to one of the biggest Pauper tournaments in the US. You know, I thought about it. I figured, what's the biggest problem facing us in Pauper? It's cast down. So let me counter cast down, and then their decks will all just crumble. All right, Extract is good. Okiba's decent. Annul's okay. I don't mind a couple Hydros. Nothing terrible that I want to cut, or need to cut anyway, because Dispel's good. Fairy Seer, Preordain. Agony Warp is fine. I guess it doesn't kill the most stuff. Like, it kills Gixian early and Refurb. Gurmag dies to Krark, gets chumped by Spawn. Probably can get cut here. I think our goal kind of is Thorn and just kill everything. Like, Fumes is not amazing, but it does kill Refurbs, and if Thorn is one of our main concerns, then I don't hate it. Snuff Out only hits Chrysalis and Krark. It's pretty important to kill a Chrysalis, but almost makes me want to cut like a Snuff Out. Hydroblast is just important because we need to have at least one answer. I might maybe only need one. At least one answer to a makeshift munitions that's resolved is pretty important. But it can counter Krark. It can also counter their Red Blast if they bring in any. Annul hits Refurb, Wellspring, Munitions, Lembas. I don't think we really need that. I think this looks okay. Let's give it a try. All right, we got 2 lands with this Lorien. If I go for blue, I can get Nogger down on turn 2 into a Ninja on turn 3, which is pretty good. But then we have 4 black spells that I can't cast yet. We'll see what they got. Oh, of course, I didn't even mention that Hydra could catch Wildfire. Of course, another choice. I mean, I think I'm going for the Augur. I don't really want to play nothing on turn 2 here. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to draw. Counterspell's great. I wouldn't mind drawing those lands, but probably more where that came from. No Chris, so I can Ninja, but they're almost assuredly have a kill spell. So I think I just pass with a counterspell up. But if they were going to Chrysalis, they would. Kind of feels like I'm going to waste my mana if I don't do something here. I can just suffocate. I can cycle the Suffocating Fumes, actually, if I have nothing else to do, which I think I will. Yeah, if we didn't have the Fumes and I'd have nothing to do with my mana, it still might be right to hold up the counterspell, but if I'm not countering a Chrysalis or something, maybe probing with like a, because I could have spell stuttered there. Oh, maybe they just have a bunch of refurbs. If I counter this, they can't do another refurb unless they have a land. It's a blocker, but it does die to Fumes. It's a 2-for-1 though. I think we'll counter it. My Coker's brought in Empanadas to share, and now I'm trying not to fall asleep to your voice. Well, I appreciate that. I guess if I have a very soothing voice, why can't I think of the right word? Snuff Out probably is fine to go. If I get a land here, I can like Extract plus Ninja. Although they might not block because it's just a chump blocks, in which case I can Ninja plus Dispel for cast down. That's pretty good. Would love to hit a land though. Even a tap land would be fine. Yeah, it's not a bad card. We'll pass. Well, we're going to Dispel. I feel like there's another cast down or maybe another Pyro right behind it, but that's fine. Yeah. I mean, all they're doing is 1-for-1ing. They're pretty far behind. I guess they have a card draw here, a creature on board, and a land that we don't have, but we have 3 more cards, so I guess it's maybe more even. We'll take 2. Brainstorm lets me ensure that I hit with Augur. Although if I Augur first and then Brainstorm, it gives me more shots to hit like a Lorien, which would be a land drop. If I Brainstorm and I don't hit a land, it's pretty rough. But if I keep up card advantage, I'm probably fine. Yeah, let's go for the Brainstorm first. Obviously, chances are I hit a land, but there's no guarantee. Okay. So I want to keep Augur and Ninja. So I guess I get rid of Extract and Cast Down, and I just get the Cast Down. Sure. They don't even have many creatures at the moment. I might actually just take the Lorien. I'm getting rid of 2 kill spells. I think I take the Lorien. It's either a land drop or just a draw 3, both of which are pretty good. I already have 2 kill spells plus a counter spell. Insight the Spell Bomb. Okay. They do get a bridge, another Spell Bomb. So I'm probably going to get to Ninja here. Well, definitely if they attack. So I think I do just cycle the Lorien. Since I'm already going to have stuff to do with our mana, I'm already drawing cards. Want to hit those land drops. So let's swing, turn it into a Ninja, draw a card, Spell Stutter. I was already thinking I might want to just leave up Counterspell, so I think we'll just pass. Although with them already using 2 Spell Bombs, I'm not sure we're going to hit a 1-drop with the Spell Stutter. I think that's fine. Because I have the Fumes, I'm going to get rid of an island, because I can hopefully find another one with a Brainstorm. Play a bridge. If they play a Chrysalis, then I can wipe the spawn away with the Familiars before the Chrysalis resolves. That'd be pretty good. But Looks like it's something else. They've only tapped one so far. Lembas. That's fine. Scry to the bottom. Oh, well, I was going to say perfect because I can Suffocating Fumes, but they have one way to grow it. But then they have to waste a card here, and then I can still just cast it down. So I think that's actually fine. Not quite perfect, but still pretty nice. You've talked about decks that suit you in the past. Black Sack is aggro, Esper Affinity is mid-range, Dimir Faeries is control, so what makes a deck feel right to you? Yeah, it's a great question, because I am a big fan of a lot of different archetypes. I like tempo as well, you know. So I think, ooh, if I didn't have to cast this down, that'd be so good. Because I don't have to. I could offer the trade. Decks that suit me. Yeah, I think it's all about how the cards play out. It's not necessarily about the archetype. It's about, I like decks where I have a lot of agency. So a lot of interaction, a lot of decision points. I like decks less generally that the choices are kind of made for me just because, well, you have 3 mana, you should play this card, or, you know, whatever. Obviously, there are always the correct plays in certain decks, but like the reason I like Black Sack and aggro deck a lot more than I like Red Rally, although I like Red Rally fine, is because there's always like a decision about what to play with Black Sack. Should you play your fodder now? Or should you play something else now? You know, should you play your grower or whatever? And they are going to go for the trade. Okay, I think that's fine for me. I'm going to brainstorm first. We'll do these two. Yeah, so it's mostly about decision points. But I also like just drawing cards, frankly. So like Esper Affinity is a great one because I just get to draw so many cards. But it's mid-range. I like the reason that I always say my favorite archetype is mid-range, and it probably is because mid-range is I would say creature forward. Very important to have creatures to block, to attack, but also to gain value. And I like value. I like combat. Combat's the best part of the game, in my opinion. It's the point where you can be the most interesting, I think. And so I always like decks that lead to interesting combats. Black Sack is, I think, probably the prime example of that. But honestly, Ninjas is another big reason combat's so interesting, even in this control deck. That's probably why I like this deck a lot more than I like, say, Jeskai Ephemerate. Jeskai Ephemerate's fine, but it is not a deck where combat really matters. It's hard control until you take control of the game, and then eventually maybe you deal them some damage. But I like this one a lot more because combat is relevant, and so I get to fight on like multiple axes, I guess. So yeah, I think that's why just like interesting decisions is the main thing. All right, I'm going to cast this down, attack. They're probably going to be scared of a ninja, which I can't actually activate this turn, but I could have a Ninja the Deep Hour, so I assume they'll block. I think that would be smart. And then I have double Spell Stutter, Counterspell. Next turn I can Shinobi them. Opinions on 2 card draw, 2 Gorehounds instead of 4 card draw for Black Sack. I don't think I've tried that exact split before. I've certainly tried 4 Gorehounds instead of card draw, and maybe even in addition to. I think that's fine. I would need to test it to really know for sure, but I think that split sounds fine. I will say, I know a lot of people have liked Gorehound. I haven't been the biggest fan of it in my trials. Ooh, they don't block. I mean, I gotta try to go for taking their entire hand, right? And if they cast it down or whatever, I have a counterspell, or I just let it go. If I counterspell this, then I don't have a counterspell for like a Chrysalis, but I could probably find a kill spell with an Augur. Double cast down. Okay, well, still not bad eating all of those. Yeah, so I think 2 Gorehounds would probably be fine. Hence why you said you didn't like elves. The plays kind of make themselves. Yeah, I'm... some people get upset when how I talk about elves. I'm not disparaging elves. I'd never disparage, like, if you like to play a deck, you know, obviously I'm a big anti-combo player. I don't care for combo. I'm not saying you can't play combo. You play whatever you want, but I can feel about it however I want, you know? But yes, that is why I'm not a big fan of elves. I think that the plays are mostly self-explanatory, which doesn't inherently mean that I don't like a deck, but probably does mean I like it less. And so, yeah, I think that's why elves is not my favorite. I haven't gotten Gorehound yet, but I want to test it for card selection. Yeah, I say test it for sure. Main drawback of Black Sack for me is the variance, 100%. If Black Sack was reliably as good as it is sometimes, like it'd be an incredible deck. Right now it's just a good deck. But yeah, I think Gorehound should help. I just, in my games, I haven't like loved it as much as I thought I would. But yeah. Okay, Brainstorm. I'll go for a Brainstorm now because I could hit a land drop, but also I could hit a kill spell, double land drop. Sure, we'll just put these 2 back. Play a landscape. I can shuffle if I want, but I'll probably just take the Preordain and then I can take that land if I want, or I can get rid of it. Another Chrysalis. Okay, well, we could be in a little bit of trouble then because they could hit pretty hard. I'm going to go for a Wildfire. I think I'm going to double Spell Stutter this for a couple reasons. One, I want to use them up. I'd like them to have less mana and less value. But I also think having double Spellstar on the field is going to almost 100% make it so that they have to hold their Chrysalises back for fear of like ninjas and stuff. Maybe not. Fear if I kill one I can get in with ninjas. I think they're doing an Investigator's Insight here, which I luckily have a Dispel for. They're doing it here in response so that I can't have another Spell Stutter to counter this, which is pretty smart. But I have the Dispel, luckily. Those all resolve. And then we're going to Spell Stutter. So they have a giant 7-power creature. Maybe they probably should attack, to be honest. And I probably should jump. But I think I'm going to... No, I think I should take it. But yeah, that's pretty scary. I'm going to Preordain and try to find a removal spell. Okay, Thorn's pretty good. Because it's a little risky because I don't technically have a way to kill one of their creatures. I can Death Touch one of them. But it's Death Touch for one, so it deals with one of them. And then also it gives me card draw to hopefully find removal. Plus I have jump blockers, so... If they get a kill spell for Thorn, that's going to be pretty bad. Okay, Insight's a good draw from them, but they do have to sack lands. It's pretty nice since they just lost all their spawn. Wellspring. This also kind of forces them to double attack, which makes it so that I could Ninja. Do I have another Ninja? I've used only 2, I think, right? It's my graveyard. 1, 2. Only 2 of the ninjas, of the deep hour, that is. I almost think... Keeping 2 spell starters is better because if I get a ninja, I can spell start a 2-drop, but Augur would be good. I already have another Augur, though. We'll do this. Another spell starter's decent. Augur. By the way, thanks for keeping the sideboard guide sheet up to date. No problem. I do my best. That is fantastic. We get to just cast this, and now I can attack. He has the Paupergenesis testing going pretty well so far. This is just match 1 here, but we're up a game, and I think we're going to be up a match in just a second. Oh yeah, double counterspell for sure. Hello Ben, how's it going? They have munitions, but we have a spell stutter. Play a land, so they can Eviscerator's Insight, but I think I just counter that. They only get to draw 1 card. Seems good. Oh, perfect draw. Bounce a spell stutter. Glad I could finally catch a stream. I'm usually too busy with work when you're live. Yeah, glad you're able to make it. Apologies that it's usually during work hours. Oh, Hydroblast is decent. I guess we've already gone through munitions, but it's their main recourse to a spell stutter sprite would be a Pyroblast or maybe even like a breath weapon, and Hydro covers that. Wellspring, I'll spell stutter. Just want them to draw fewer cards, and again, I think breath weapon's the main scary thing here, and I just have a counter spell for that, or for Pyro. They can technically take 1 more draw, but yeah, that's going to be the end of the match. Nice. Double ninjing was maybe something to consider. Yeah, good point. That's always something I know in theory, but never in practice. Literally, I was talking to my brother about that the other day. He was shocked to find out you can do that. And I almost always forget to do it, even though I know that it's an option. So, good point. And yeah, I had enough mana. Picking up, I had 3 sprites, so getting 2 for 2 mana was probably the right call. Yeah, my work hours are definitely your fault. Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm sorry. I'll try to change the schedule for you next time. Nice game, too. Yeah, that one went really well. Pretty happy with that one. This hand looks great. We have, on the play, Fairy Seer to try to set up an Augur. Well, it's not going to set up an Augur, but I probably get rid of the Aquifer, keep the island. My instinct is always to be greedy, and I'm like, well, I already have, 2 lands set up. Why would I need to get another one? But we're a control deck. You really want to hit your lands. So we're going blind on the Augur, but we did just have 2 lands that we saw kind of got out of the way, so hopefully it'll hit. Jender's a good matchup for Dimir Fae, you think? We whiff, of course. Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. They struggle because they only have a little bit of interaction. Cast downs being the big one. Just grab the prize. Their Krarks are not that effective against us, obviously, because we have flyers. So being able to dodge their main source of removal in some ways, being Krark, and then them only having 4 cast downs is pretty tough. They also only have a few creatures, so it's not too hard for us to kill all of them and get through. So yeah, I think that one's pretty favored. Grixis Affinity is the one I'm most worried about in general, because it's in some ways it plays similarly to Jund, but all of its we can't spell stutter half their things because they all cost 1 million mana, and we're the 2 worst colors dealing with artifacts, so all we have is a null or Steel Sabotage. Yeah, it's pretty rough. All right, they're gonna plot a robbery, understandably. I really hope we don't play each other if you end up on Blue-Black Fae for Genesis. You're going to be there, Halkaz? What are you going to be playing that's bad for against Fae? Elves would be my guess, because that's kind of a rough matchup, but I could be wrong. We have a ninja here, which is nice. Yep, me and a bunch of friends are coming down from Philly. Hell yeah, that's sweet. And then if they bolt here, I can spell stutter it. That does leave us vulnerable to everything they have next turn, which could be bad because we have no kill spells. So if they land a gutter snipe, I can't do anything about it. But we have augurs to try to dig for one. I mean, I think it's too good if they go for a bolt and we spell stutter it. They're thinking about it. And they decide yes, which probably means we're getting baited, but I also just think if we let that go, we have nothing going for us. Plus, the spell stutter can block the snacker, which I guess I probably don't want to because I don't have a counterspell this turn, and it comes right back, so I guess I will take 2. But is anybody else from chat going to be at Paupergenesis? Let me know. Or in the YouTube video, I suppose. Let me know in the comments. Faithless Looting. Double Temper is pretty good. I'll be on Gates or Madness. Gates doesn't feel like a bad matchup into Blue Black Fae, but playing against it always stresses me out. Gotcha. Like Caw Gates or like Naya Gates? Just kill both of our creatures. That's pretty annoying. Not me, but a bunch of people from my LGS are going. Nice. I'm not going. I appreciate that. On brand. Nah, nope. Snuff out. I guess we'll augur. All right, that's 2 augur whiffs in the same game. Didn't think that was allowed. Probably Caw. Okay. You'll be there. Nice. Still deciding between 2 decks, though. I mean, always same, but what decks are you thinking about? Do I counter Flame Breather? I think I have to let it go, knowing I can snuff it out, but I don't want to pay 4 life for it. Augurs sometimes are frustrating. Yeah, this is one of my favorite decks. I hate Augur Bolas. I would replace it in a heartbeat if there was another card that fit all of the criteria. All of the same criteria. Unfortunately, it's a lot of things. Okay, well, that's... If I let Gutter Snipe resolve, they highway robbery, and I take 3, and then I just about die to a whatever. Or I could counterspell, and then I probably need to counterspell it. Back to work for now. Good luck on the rest. Yeah, thanks for hanging out for a bit. I think I have to counter it. It's just too much damage otherwise. Augur Bolas, looking at the bottom 3 cards of your library since 2012, exactly. Yeah, so I would replace it if there was something that fit its criteria, but that is, the criteria are 1 or 2 drop creature, that has an ETB, that provides card advantage, that has 3 toughness, because I think it's really important to have a blocker that survives Tomb Raider and a lot of the other 2 toughness or 2 power creatures. And it has to have at least 1 power, because if it's like Philology Archaeologist is similar in a lot of ways, but if it's got 0 power, then people will block it even with a 1/1, and your ninja can't get in anywhere near as likely, which is bad. And obviously it's got to be blue or black, so preferably blue because blue is our main color. So really it's got to be blue. So yeah, as soon as we get another card that fits all of those criteria, I'll play something other than Augur. Either Sack or Radness. Sack I know super well. I think I can win a lot based on matchup knowledge alone, but Grix is just so freaking rough. Yeah, that is exactly why I'm not taking it, personally. Because if Grixis Affinity was not really that prevalent in the meta, I would probably be running Black Sack. But I've also had some pretty bad matchup lottery recently with White Weenie at a win a duel where I went up against Elves 3 times and stuff like that, so I'm not really confident that I'm not going to get paired into the Grixis Affinity players if I do that. All right, Brainstorm. Oof. I guess we'll get one of these snuff outs. Do they still have... No, they used the robbery. I think I'd rather dispel, frankly. Swing and pass. 1 power is also important for the ability to take back Monarch. Yep, that's another very good point. I think I need to take this, and then I need to hold up Dispel, unfortunately, and hope I draw another counterspell so they can't get it back, I guess. I don't want to cast down here because I could just die to instance. Brother. Yeah, so basically 1/3 for 2 mana, which is not an unreasonable or uncommon stat line by any means, but you know, it limits the scope of cards that there can be already, and then it needs to have an ETB, or I guess it could have like an LTB, like leaves the battlefield, but it needs something like that, and ability that gives card advantage in blue. So it's pretty tough. Lorien is good if we're not dead yet. Fortunately, we're going to pass. If we survive this turn, I might be okay because we have a good amount of counterspells, but I fear... Okay, Epicure is 1 damage. What do they have in their graveyard? Nothing. So I could Spell Stutter, of course, but they probably just have like a Lava Dart for it. So I could hard Counterspell. It's only 1 damage, though, which our counterspells can counter a lot more than that, so I think we let it go. It's worse on the mana efficiency, but there's Forecasting Fortune Teller. Yeah, that is honestly not a bad suggestion. That's kind of interesting. Does basically a very similar thing. Flame Breather. I have to counter Flame Breather, right? And then hope they don't have double bolt to kill us. Or grab the prize with the bolt or whatever. Yeah, there's no way I can let that resolve. Hopefully we survive, but I'm not expecting it. There's a bolt, then a fire blast, lava dart. That's not lethal. They're just putting me to virtually 1. Okay, we're not dead yet. Sorry, let me focus on this, and then we'll get back to the fortune teller and stuff, because I don't hate that suggestion. All right, another spell stat is really good. So we can counter a lava dart. So we brainstorm first. Ninja is fantastic. I want to have up all of our counter spells. I have 6 mana, 7 with this island. So yeah, we're going to put these 2 back. I guess I don't need that many counter spells because they're only going to draw 1 card. But I might need double spell stutter if it's a 2-drop. If I attack with both, I ninja 1, forcing myself to... Yeah, we're just going to attack like this and hope they don't block. So then we draw our island, play that no augur, so that if they got a highway robbery, I can double spell stutter it. And then they're going to try to dart, but I have a dispel for it. I don't love that I'm going to have to use all 3 of our counter spells on just this turn. Oh, they're not going to use the dart on us, or on our guy, because they're holding it for themselves, I guess. Let's augur. Counter spells fantastic. Swing with the team. They chump. They go to 6, and we have 6 damage on board, and we have dispel for this and counterspell for anything. So I think we got there. Oh, that was so close. Very nice for us, though. Just saw that you uploaded my deck list in YouTube. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I was planning to get around to it eventually. And yeah, I can't say I did super well with it, but I hope you enjoy anyway. All right, we get 6 Hydros, 2 Relics. Let's go back to this, though, real quick. So Forecasting Fortune Teller is a 1/3 when it enters the battlefield, create a clue for 2 mana. It's honestly potentially worth trying. The fact that it costs 2 more mana to draw your card is pretty brutal because we are a control deck. We're often leaving out mana that we're then not using, so it's not the worst thing ever. But 2 mana is a lot, especially for like playing it on turn 2 and then trying to ninja it like the following turn. We might have those cards sitting there that we can't recover for a while. So I don't know. It's worth thinking about. Also, Komodo Drake mentioned Omen Speaker's close. Yeah, Scry 2. The Scry 2 on the Fairy Seer that's 1 mana flying and a fairy for our spell stutters is great. I think a 2 mana human wizard that Scries 2 is not where we want to be. Hello, nice deck choice. Thanks. I had an ad and wasn't able to hear you. I just said that I hope you liked the deck. I don't think I did super well with it, or I hope you liked the video. But yeah, I was planning to get to it eventually. No lifelink ninja is surprising. I am not a fan. I could be wrong, but every single time, like, it's lifelink, right? So the point to bring it in is against burn decks, I assume. But burn decks always have a lightning bolt or a galvanic blast that can kill it, even not turned on with Metalcraft, or even a lava dart. I just feel like it dies too easily in the matches where you actually want it. So, I don't know. For that reason, I'm not really a fan. So I was playing one in the main deck, one on the side for a while, but I just got to the point where I didn't really care for it. All right, Hydroblast Elemental, Relic. I guess Fumes. Don't really need. Gurmag Angler gets chumped a little bit, I guess. We're taking out a lot of kill spells for their guys, but of course we have 6 Hydroblasts, so I think that's probably fine. Or maybe Mystic is worse because it gets blasted, but I feel like I have a lot of counter spells to protect it. Advertising some forecasting services, exactly. To me, it's too underpowered. Is that referencing the Mukutai Ambusher, Lifelink Ninja? Because I would agree. Not a big fan. No Campfire also. Yeah, Campfire is one I haven't really tried out. I feel like it's a classic control card, but I don't feel like it's really seen any play in Fairies until I know Barf started playing it like the last couple weeks, maybe month. So maybe it's one that I just haven't tried yet. But I also feel like our matchup versus blue decks is really not too bad. Red decks, sorry. Because we have so many Hydroblasts and stuff, and just general counters. I could brainstorm into Augur, but then they have free reign to do whatever they want. Don't love that. So let's just cycle a Lorien for an Aquifer. Play an island and pass. Yeah, so Campfire is one that maybe I could get in here as like a one-of, but I feel like it would be taking the place of a blue Elemental Blast, unless I really think that I need all of that, and I just don't know if I need that. Could flash in Spell Stutter, but we don't have a Ninja, so that doesn't matter. I could Brainstorm, then play an Augur and still have a Blue Blast. Maybe that's fine. Double Hydra is pretty good to hold up, though. Maybe I just shuffle with Lorien. I guess I want to get down Augur for Ninja now. So let's put Agony Warp Island there. We'll play Augur. I think if they blast it, we just let that go. Take an Agony Warp over nothing, but there's quite a few things I would have taken over it, which is why I put it back. It's also the one that I mind showing the least. I guess Lorien would have been fine, but I actually wanted Lorien So if I had found like a counter spell in there, I wouldn't have wanted to get rid of the Lorien. They're just gonna pass again. I could cycle a Lorien, then they could just bolt this. I think that's fine. No, I don't think I need to. I already have a land drop lined up. I don't think I'm gonna ninja this turn. Seems pretty all in. Oh, they're gonna bolt it. Well, I could spell stutter. Feels like they're gonna have some stuff for that. I think that's fine. Let's just let it go. I'd rather spell stutter something on their turn to try to force them to tap out and use their removal then. If they do nothing, I could flash and spell stutter for the ninja. I hear some crawling happening in the back corner here, so I assumed it was my cat, but my cat's right there. So I assume it's a mouse that my cat brought into my office the other day and promptly forgot where it was. I'm going to cycle this Lorien. Island. We'll just pass now, I think. So many noises around me. It's hard to counter every burn and deals with snackers, so I believe some life gain of any sort is needed after stabilizing. Yeah, that's fair. I do think I'd prefer Campfire over the Mukotai, so maybe I should do like one Campfire. It's not a bad idea. Guess we'll flash and spell stutter now. I can protect it a little bit. If they lava dart, it's going to be pretty hard to protect, but another Hydra is pretty nice. I assume they'll try to kill it before it attacks. Yeah, that's the problem, is that I could blast it, but then they just flash it back again. I think I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to hard cast a ninja. Still have double Hydro up, but it doesn't die to dart, so they'd have to use real removal spells on it. Flame Breather. I'd rather cast that down or Agony Warp it. Question is, how much damage am I going to take this turn if I let it resolve? Probably a lot, but I can Hydra the things they cast, so I think we're going to let it go. There's Gutter Snipe. I think that one, well, then they're tapped out. They do have Robbery plus Dart. They haven't played a land. I counter the Robbery. I take 3. They could dart me for 4. Could have a Fire Blast, I think. But I only have 1 black mana, which means I'm going to have to kill one of these anyway. Or rather, I'm going to have to use one of these on this turn. So maybe I Blue Blast this. I guess it would make sense to do the Gutter Snipe. Yeah, I think it's kind of close, but I think if we had 2 black mana, I think I would just let it go and then untap and kill them both. But since I don't have that, I'm going to have to use a Blue Blast on one anyway, or let it survive for a full turn, which I don't like. So we're going to counter this. If Seeker was still legal, would you be on team beat them or join them this weekend? Definitely beat them. Since I'm not a combo player, I don't really have a desire to be playing that deck. So to be honest, before the ban, like 2 days before the ban, I was still deciding between Dimir Faeries and Affinity. And I was much more like, I'm definitely going to do Dimir Faeries if Seeker's still legal, because, okay, if they want to Fire Blast this, that's totally fine. I mean, I don't love it. I would prefer to keep it alive, but that's not the worst thing ever. I was much more set on playing Dimir Faeries with Seeker alive because... great draws. Because of the fact that we just have Snuff Out, which is obviously great against them, 1 million counter spells, 1 million kill spells. And yeah, so I was pretty set to play this if Seeker was still legal. Hates combos, so probably beat him. Yes, exactly. You are correct. We will cast this down. Even if they get another Gutter Snipe, I still have 2 counter/kill spells for them. Augur Bolas. I think we're going to counter their counter here just to get something going. We're both low-ish on resources, so I'd like to use my 1-for-1 to make sure hopefully 2-for-1 resolves in before I put 3 cards on the bottom again. Oh, look at that. It's still technically an attacker, and if I get a ninja, it's better, but that's 3 times today. And guess what? Every single one of those 3 times, forecasting Fortune Teller would have been better. So, yeah. Fiery Temper the Augur. That one I'm going to let go, because if we get a ninja, I can just hardcast it. It's obviously better to pick it up, but we also have no guarantee. More Hydroblasts. I don't hate Hydroblasts, but I would have loved like a Lorien into a Hydroblast plus something else, you know. Okay, that's pretty good. Especially since they didn't have any Pyros, so now I make birds every time I cast these. Yeah, we'll counter that. Make a bird. Is there any Hydro left? Good question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 1 left. 15 blasts in your sideboard. Yeah, I thought people were kind of not playing properly with only like 6 to 8. So I used my one-time cheat code to be able to put 15 Hydroblasts in my sideboard. Oh, I could pick up the Mystic, but it probably makes more sense just to pick up a bird. All right, we won the match. Nice. 2-0. No, I mean, that one worked out. If you get the Hydros on time and everything, like having them a ton is great, but sometimes, kind of like Mari was just saying, it's hard to counter every bird spell and deal with snackers. So like if sometimes drawing all Hydroblast is bad, but, you know, it seems like it should be great, but sometimes even against red, it's like, well, I need something else, and luckily this was not one of those games for a while. This hand is not great. We're on the play again. Of course, we can mold it to be what we want with the Lorien, but I think we're going to keep because we have this, and we're a control deck that's happy to have a bunch of lands, but if we get unlucky with a Brainstorm, we might just get screwed. I think anything else gets a ban besides Snacker if it does. No, I think just Snacker. I think Snacker's going to go next opportunity probably. Is it August? They were saying something about August being like another ban announcement, but I wasn't sure if that was for sure or if it was like just if they didn't do this ban. So landscape and pass. That would be such a huge meta shift to August 10th. Okay. Yeah, so Prism. That's fine. Yeah, I think Snacker was mostly fine. We're probably against Monstertron because that's the deck that is most prevalent, which means our giant Gurmag Angler is going to be pretty irrelevant, but our kill spells are good. I think I put back these two. Let me shuffle here, and I'll just get black with Lorien later. Not now because I want to hold up Counterspell. They have to have Natural Tron, right? Otherwise they would have cracked their map. Yeah, Snacker I think was generally fine when it was only in one color of decks, which was red. But then Abandoned Attachments made it playable in blue decks. And so now it's only playable in blue or red decks, but like with us getting Pursue the Past, now it's playable in red-white decks as opposed to just mono-red or red-black or all these different ones. So it's getting a little too prevalent for me. Nothing for 7 mana. I guess that's good. They could have an instant. They could have Unfathomable Truths, which means I definitely want to hold up Dispel. What upsets me about the probable Snacker ban is that it was fine until WotC printed 17,000 discard, draw 2 effects. I agree. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like it was fine until not only everything that I just said, where we got it in a bunch of new colors, but also because we got more powerful ones. Like Grab the Prize wasn't there right when it was first printed. I guess it was printed right after Highway Robbery. They do have Truths. I definitely have to Dispel this, which means they're going to be able to resolve something else, but they don't have that many instants, and Dispel, that's the perfect one. Okay, I don't think I need another Snuff Out. I might, but maybe I do. But I do also want to hit lands and other stuff. We'll keep the Counterspell, though. Bonder's Ornament. Funny that the Dimir decks probably won't be affected by a Dimir card ban. It's not entirely true. Snacker has become quite a staple in Dimir Terror, and one of the reasons why Dimir Terror is a pretty decent deck. So that deck will definitely be hit and not like that it gets banned. But yes, it will not be the primary ones. Yeah, I guess them getting the Ornament to resolve is probably going to ruin us, because they get to draw an extra card every turn. I usually don't see it there. I mean, there are some decks that don't run it, but usually Dimir does, in my experience. Well, I can Gurmag and hold up a Counterspell. That's what we're going to do if we have any shot to win this before they like outdraw us with the Ornament. It would be just hitting them quickly, or maybe getting our own Thorn of the Black Rose that they can't compete with, so that we can at least be drawing twice as much. They have another Unfathomable. Oh, Mystic Teachings. Okay, so it's not Monstertron. It's the other one. Flickertron, which is way more annoying. After calling Unfathomable Truths, I definitely thought it was going to be Monster, but whatever. Prism. Top 4 Paupergenesis, Dimir Terror has it. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm just hitting the guys that don't run it. Yeah, it's possible. There are people not running it, and those are the ones you're playing against. Moment's Peace. Yep. Do you think Red and Rakdos Madness will stay after a Snacker ban? I think Red will move back to Pingers, and I'm not sure if Rakdos will stay. Guess I feel like I have to counter this when they don't have Unwind up. Rakdos will take a big hit for sure. I mean, I don't think it will stay at where it's at. I think it'll take a hit to be where it like tier 2.5 or 3 deck or something. Mono Red. Yeah, it could move back to Pingers, but here's the thing. The Snacker's a great part of the deck for sure. Oh, I should have spell stuttered that. Snacker's a great part of the deck, but it doesn't interact with the Gutter Snipe combo part. So I think the deck's going to stay. I think it's going to be just fine without it. It'll just replace it with like Chain Lightning or something else. Another Bonder's Ornament. I guess I don't really care about the second. Rakdos can go back to the old build as well, but both decks will lose power. Yeah, but what was the old build of Rakdos? Like, it wasn't that much different, except that it didn't have as many resilient creatures, right? I could play an Augur. I feel like I'm going to lose, but holding up counterspells feels better. I guess the second Bonder's Ornament is still relevant. Crop Rotation. I don't feel like that's the thing to counter. Snackers are dead weight in Rakdos, literally useless cards. Not worth Graveyard Exile or interaction, just let my stackers stay on the field. Yeah, that sounds like propaganda to me. I saw Rakdos 5-0 with Chain Lightning and Tomb Raider. Yeah, I think those could be fine. I don't think it's going to be as good for sure, but it'd be okay. No Snacker. Yeah, I gotcha. Tangle. I guess we'll try to spell stutter that. Mystical Teachings. What does Teachings find? Breath Weapon. I guess it doesn't matter because they can unwind the counterspell. If it's more than 2 toughness or 2 mana value, they got an exclude. They have the mana for unwind, and I can't. Okay, they got me. I think it was running Bump of the Night before MH3. Could also start seeing Swarm. I don't remember Bump of the Night ever being in there, but I could be wrong. I would think it'd be like Galv Blasts, maybe, if they wanted to go back to artifacts. Tomb Raiders, maybe, and or Chain Lightnings, like we were saying. Could be Bump of the Night. I don't know. I just don't remember that. I guess we get Relics, Annuls, and Okiba Gang. Take out this removal. I feel like we would just cut a couple more removal spells. Like, it's relevant to have some, but just not that many. If we can get an early Thorn and also make sure to counter their Bonders Ornaments, I think we'll have an okay match here. Not the best matchup ever, but this is... I mean, I'm not going to ship this. Fury Seer on 1 land is pretty risky, but also with a Brainstorm, if we don't hit a land in all that time, I guess we'll be screwed. This is rough. I hit the island, obviously I'm keeping. I do really want a Thorn, but with no way to shuffle, I think I got to get rid of it and hope we find it again later. Swing for 1 and pass. We can spell stutter a 2-drop, but I assume they'll just crack map since we have mana up. Or play a tap land. If I don't Brainstorm and I don't draw land, I'm not going to want to Brainstorm because I might not have Counterspell up, and they could Bonder's Ornament, so I guess I have to Brainstorm now, even though it lets me see 1 fewer card. Luckily, we hit Lorien. Ooh, I could get rid of Brainstorm. I guess we're going to have a Ninja going. I almost want to get rid of a Counterspell. That seems risky. I don't know. But Brainstorm can help us hit more lands. We'll do this. Well, now I wish I got an untapped land, but I'm not going to Ninja because I'm pretty sure we lose very hard if they just get a Bonder's Ornament down. So we have to prevent that. Okay. This does let me get Ninja down, though. Still have up a Counterspell, which I think we will, because if they don't have a kill spell for it, this is a draw an extra card every turn. And if they want to Fog this, that's fine. That means they're still not cracking map, unless they have actual Fog, which they do. I could spell stutter it, but for the reasons we've already mentioned, we're not going to be doing that. Crack a map. They got a Power Plant. Dispel's not bad. Swing for 2. Draw a card. Kiba Gang. So if I play Fairy Seer, I have a Spell Stutter and Dispel, or just Counterspell. I think we're going to do that because I want to have something for the Okiba next turn, but they exclude it. I could Dispel, but then they could have a Bonder's Ornament. Man, Bonders is pretty annoying, isn't it? We'll have to play around it this much. All right, we'll let it go. Shame I don't have all the required cards. Would like to try that out. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, Spell Stutter's countering just about nothing now, so I think I'm going to flash it out so that if we get an untapped land, I could Okiba here with Counterspell. Although I guess that's likely to draw a Tangle or something. I think actually I'm just going to deal the damage. If they want to go for a Fog, Mystical Teachings, then they do that, and I could Dispel it. But if they get a Moment's Peace, then they buy an extra turn. I think it's fine. Anyways, it's getting late. I'll go to sleep. Thanks for the good luck. Hope your sleep goes well. They got Unfathomable Truths. Okay. And they have a Moment's Peace. I get to draw a card if I do this. I think it's worth it. I still hold a double Counterspell, although I guess Dispel could counter this, so I'm going to have to counter this with a real Counterspell. I don't know. Pressuring them and drawing cards feels good, though. Yeah, weird without Grab or Highway Robbery, but yeah, it looks so straight. All burn spells. For sure. They're going to pass. Oh, I guess this makes a blocker. Flashback Moment's Peace. Yeah, I think that's fine. If I counter that, then they make a blocker. Like, I would like to counter this draw 3. That's the big thing. Lorien would be pretty nice to cast here. I would be tapping out against their... We're going to attack for no reason. I would be tapping out against their potential Bonders and some other stuff. It's 1 Counterspell, and they're going to have 5 cards in hand. I feel like I might want to cast the Lorien, but I also think that could be pretty bad with their Mystical Teachings. I think I got to pass. I could see Thermal Alchemist getting into Red Madness post-ban. Yeah, I could see that, potentially. Flashback Teachings. I think that's fine. Got to keep a Counterspell for some other stuff. They find another Mystical Teachings with it. Sure. And that's going to find Moment's Peace. I guess this would be the turn. If they cast Moment's Peace, I counter it, and then I just go for Okiba. I am going to be tapping out against Pretty good stuff. Ooh, honestly, that annul's really good because it lets me do this and still have a counterspell. But taking 2 of their cards plus hitting for 5 feels pretty good. Now they could Mystical Teachings for like a breath weapon, but they need some way to shift it into red, and Annul can hopefully hold that off. Discard Lorien, Weather the Storm. Flashback Mystical Teachings. That's a breath weapon. A crop rotation into red. Can't do anything about that because I don't have Spell Stutter up. That's a little annoying. I bet people will start running red pingers with Hawkeye's Bow after Snacker's gone. Yeah, I do think that is a bit of an unexplored area. Well, breath weapon's pretty good. They are low on resources. They have Moment's Peace in the Grave. Focus the Mind is also pretty good. Discard a tower. I want a Lorien, but maybe it's better to preordain Augur. I ensure that I have up both of these. Yeah, that's great. So I draw the Spell Stutter, and then I can Augur to find the Dispel. And then I have a double Spell Stutter as well, or just single Spell Stutter with Dispel and Annul. Prism. I think Prism's fine, because Bonder's Ornament is really the one I'm worried about, especially now that they have Conduit Pylons. I could double Spell Stutter to get a Prism, but then I tap out, and that seems pretty bad. Energy Refractor, yeah, I mean, this is all the same. They got the colors of mana they want. Perfect. If they cast one of those and they were like tapping out, maybe. Weather the Storm, sure. This was never going to be a fast one. I am going to flash in 1 Spell Stutter so I can counter a 2-drop easier. Annul. I think now they only have 2 cards in hand. I'm definitely going to cast a Lorien. They're going to wait to see if I have a Ninja. They have a Moment's Peace in the yard. Lorien. We don't hit a land drop. We hit a counter spell. All right, let's leave up counters. Next turn I can go Gurmag. Nothing. Perfect. Relic's pretty nice. Let's brainstorm. Put back. Dispel. Annul. Island. Swing. Probably not going to use the Moment's Peace, and then I get to put a Relic down, which is going to eat the Moment's Peace. Not before I Gurmag here. Relic. And I think I don't actually want to... I want to draw back both the Annul and the Dispel, so I'm not going to play the Augur yet. Now I'll Spell Stutter Prism just because we have mana and counter spells for other stuff. Prohibit. We still have an Annul up. Yeah, let's just counter that. Pop the Relic. Should have played Mystic first in case they go for a Moment's Peace or a Tangle and I need to dispel it. Yep, realized that real quick, but still worth doing. Play Mystic and pass. Expedition Map. I guess I'll let that go. I could counter it for a bird, but they don't necessarily know we have Annuls in our deck yet. I mean, they can probably assume, but why confirm it? The 1 damage is not going to make it a difference. I guess I could have double annulled it, and I would have had lethal here. I think I'll be okay. Play a Relic, play an Augur, whiff on the Augur, classic. All right, we win that game. A lot of patience, did us some pretty good work. 1 Spell Stutter. Bojuka Bog's not bad. Snuff Out's bad. I think I got to mulligan this. It just doesn't do enough. This one is better. If we can get that early Thorn, we could be in a good spot. We haven't seen any creatures, have we? Kind of feel like we get rid of Snuff Out. If I'm going to need it, it's not going to be for a very long time, more than likely. So let's just do that. All right, I do have to play Landscape. Crack it for blue, or do I cycle Lorien for blue first? Prism. Gotta cycle the Lorien so that I could play a 2-drop next turn if I want. Like an Augur, although with these brainstorms, I really don't want to waste the Augur. So I think what we do is cycle Lorien and then Fairy Seer. I don't need another Thorn, although if I want to make sure this brainstorm gets got by this Augur, I would need to grab it, but I don't want that. In fact, let's get rid of the brainstorm too. We already have a bunch of those. And they slam a Bonder's Ornament, which, like, we're supposed to have a counterspell for it on turn 2. Completely outrageous. Oh, look, there's our counterspell. It's fine because we're going to get Thorn on turn 4. That'll make up for it. Brainstorm first. If I want to get Thorn on turn 4, I'm not doing this Augur properly. I think that's fine. So I put back these 2. I Bojuka Bog. Next turn I draw the island and I just Thorn. I guess I have to hope they don't have Exclude. Also, by putting the land back on top, I can't shuffle with the landscape, so that might have been a mistake. Maybe I should have put back Augur. Cycle Lorien. If I recall, Augur has about a 20% fail rate. That sounds about right. And yet, I've whiffed 4 times today. There's a Lorien, so I've managed to hit that fail rate a lot more often than I should. All right, Thorn is really good, though. Again, I don't think I've seen any creatures from them. I'm sure they're playing a Mystic or something, but it's like, I'm not sure if it's Flickertron as much as just like, this actually feels like Fogtron. Because a lot of people call Flickertron Fogtron, but usually it plays like 1 moment's peace, and so I don't think that's accurate. But here it actually is Fogtron, I think. There we go. So I could Ninja. This mouse is making a lot of noise. I mean, Ninja's good. I think we do this. I really want to hit a land because I have so much card draw. So I think we Brainstorm, hope to hit the land. Yes, and I can even hold up Dispel. I'm going to probably shuffle something away here. Let's make it an Augur. So I'll have up Dispel or Spell Stutter even. Is he even running Wall and Flicker? Yeah, I've not seen a single creature. I haven't seen any flickers, and I've seen more fogs than usual. So I'm not confident that they are. I'm going to cast a Spell Stutter. I guess that opens them up to Breath Weapon or something, and I had to Dispel. It's pretty bad. Unfathomable Truths, sure. Marsh is so skilled, the universe compensates by giving him terrible luck. Well, I appreciate that. I feel like the universe already compensates by me making stupid plays like tapping out for a Spell Stutter when I didn't need to. Let's swing with the team. I'm trying to think of a way that this spawn could gain power. Unless they're playing Fanatical Offering, I'm not expecting anything. Bonder's Ornament is fine. I'm just going to pass. Maybe I should have played the Seer, but I want to hold up double counter here. I'm going to get rid of the Snuff Out. I'm going to just crack this because I need more blue. Don't really need to shuffle at this point. I should have Fairy Seered first, but they're going to Fog, so it doesn't really matter. Are you a fan of Monstertron? Yeah, I'm playing it. I've been playing it more recently, and I've been liking it quite a bit, to be honest. So, I mean, it's not my favorite deck ever, but it plays much more like a mid-range deck than any other Tron, and I'm not that big of a fan of the other Trons. This one I'm going to let go, and we'll pass here. He just ran a league with it last week. I did indeed. Activate Bonder's Ornament. Played it for the first time in paper. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's gotten a lot more interesting as it's gotten cards like Pinnacle Killship, which adds some interaction and just some general, I don't know, just some more stuff to do, I think. We'll discard another Thorn. And yeah, the list that I ran with it last week was playing a splash of blue for 2 Unfathomable Truths, and I really liked that. It felt very strong, especially because you could get it off of Ancient Stirrings, which I liked a lot. All right, let's start with a Preordain, trying to hit some lands. There we go. I'm going to keep both on top because I'd like to have both. Crazy. They're going to Fog. I'm going to let that go. And I guess I'll play a Fairy Seer just so I don't have to discard. They activate Bonders. They have Mystical Teachings. I'm going to let that go, I think. I guess it probably grabs another Mystical this time. Yeah. Someone needs to brew a Monstertron that cuts the monsters for Mono Blue Flicker package. Sounds right up Marsh's alley. Oh, yeah, perfect. Was just saying how much that's what I wanted. All right. Relic can be pretty good here. I don't think that's ever been done before. Yeah, good point. There's the Mystic, which I, of course, now don't have kill spells for. We'll try to counter, negate, dispel. They flashback Teachings to find another counter spell, I assume. I guess now we're tapped out of blue. They can just find like a Breath Weapon to wipe the board if they wanted. Prohibit. They have 6 mana left. Weather the Storm, fine. I need to find our last Snuff Out is the big thing. Upkeep, they're going to Moment's Peace. Kind of weird, just because like I can't even get through super well right now anyway. I think I'm just going to let it go because my goal is actually just to focus on... they don't have anything relevant in the graveyard now. I'm just trying to find Snuff Out. Perfect. Oh, I was about to say I don't have a swamp. I don't. Now I do. Luckily. Take the Snuff Out. Kill the Mystic. Oops. Play a Relic. And no attacks, obviously. Draw a Null. That's not bad. Play a Forest. They're going to pass. Perfect, because we were a bit weak here because we only have 1 counter spell up, but now we have a bunch. And I guess we attack with these. Yeah, let's do these. They're going to double block the Ninja. Oh, never mind. Quick double block and then no. Block the Spell Stutter. I do get to draw a card then. Pass the turn. Things seem like they're turning up, but they could have some scary stuff here. Of course, Ornament draws them extra cards. He does talk about Flickertron in all of his YouTube videos. You know, that's one way of thinking of it. Prism is totally fine. Hello, fellow Genesis Fig Jammer. Eager to learn from one of the masters. Well, I appreciate that. There are no masters here, but I'll try to get Barf on the stream at some point. Pachuca Bog, doesn't matter. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you there. Let's just crack this. I don't even need to. Gurmag, swing with the team, mostly. They're going to Tangle. I mean, I got to fight the Tangle, I think. Moment's Peace is fine. I can exile that from the grave. Gurmag could cost 6. That's too much. I want to hold up counter spells. but we're going to end up popping this, so let's just do it now. Well, I should cast the first one first, because now if they counter it, the second one could be relevant, but Barf half man, half dog. I was unaware of that. They have the mana surely to flash it back. Yeah, we'll let that go, I guess. Can you explain why you dislike combo decks so much? I can, and I will. I'm sure plenty of people would disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I don't think it's playing Magic in a lot of ways. I think the interesting thing about Magic, for me, is trying to enact your own game plan while stopping your opponent from enacting theirs. And every single combo deck pretty much says, I don't really care about interacting with my opponent at all, and it makes it so that the opponent is no longer allowed to play their own game plan. So if I'm playing against a combo deck, I no longer get to focus on what I want to do while interacting with them. My whole game plan becomes stopping them, which is, I'm not playing Dimir. I mean, Dimir Faeries being a control deck maybe isn't the best example. I guess I counter that? No, I don't think I care at this point. If I'm playing some proactive mid-range kind of a deck or whatever, they can draw 3 cards a turn if they want. If I'm playing something like Esper Affinity, I'm playing that because I want to play Esper Affinity and I want to play my cards and I want to care about my cards and stuff. But if you're playing a combo deck, I'm not allowed to care about my main game plan. I have to suddenly care about what you're doing more than my own thing, which obviously there's some element of in every game, because of course the whole point is interacting, stopping your opponent from doing something. But I just think for combo decks it goes beyond that, where it's like it's all about, they have a counter spell here, Bonder's Ornament, sure. It goes beyond that, where it's all about stopping your opponent. And yeah, I mean, I think I already said it pretty much. Like, I no longer get to do the game plan that I want to be doing, kind of a thing. Marsh spitting the spiciest takes. Hey, I know everyone's going to disagree with me. They have some enormous spell here that I'm probably not prepared for and going to lose to. Mill them out. That is the goal. Looks like they have something here, which I'm hoping is an instant, but I'm suspecting is not. Could be like a Nyxborn Hydra. That'd be really funny. I guess I could get a null off this. Stream of Thought. Oh, they're going to mill me out. They're playing Stream of Thought. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're at 50. Crop rotation. I don't know what the crop rotation's for, but I assume we're dead to this. I mean, I'll counter this. Because this mills for 20. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. I'm not quite dead this turn, but I only have 2. Well, I only have 1 turn to attack them. Plus, I can't crack my relic, or I die in my end step, but I'm already going to be dying in my end step, so... Or my next turn, anyway. So you like control combo like Splinter Twin? I also, I mean, I guess to add to what I was saying before, I also think you get a lot more of a story with like a mid-range deck going back and forth like this, whereas if the game just abruptly ends because you get a combo, which happens in any deck, right? But games can just abruptly end, but if it just abruptly ends because of a combo or whatever, then you're not telling the story as much, I guess. All right, well, we're going to die to them milling us out. We can deny these draws, but obviously not this one. But we can cast a 7-mana Gurmag Angler and a Brainstorm. Ooh, and we can put these back on top. Perfect. So yeah, now that I've probably properly scared away every single... Not scared away, upset every combo player. Scared them all off. Just us mid-range folks left. Oh, we'll be talking. Oh, I thought Phil had left. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Fairy Seer. Good cards, but we got to go for lands. They got to grab the prize. We just draw the land, which is nice because I can hold up Counterspell now. And Spell Stutter. So you're saying the real reason you don't like Perigee Beckoner is because you can't let your beloved Black Sack become an icky combo deck. No, I don't like it because that card is trash. It's just not a good card in that deck, I don't think. And the fact that the combo for it... I think we're just going to counter this. The fact that the combo for it only happens like 1% of the time, or even less sometimes, makes it so I could actually just play it in the deck because it's not, the combo itself is so unlikely to happen, but it's just not a good card, and I will stand by that. All right, Fairy Seer, swing for 1, attack right away. Maybe I should have blocked the Epicure. I didn't want to block the Snacker, obviously, because it's just going to come right back. Grab the prize, plot a robbery. Lorien for an island. Preordain. Don't want to snuff out. I guess Ninja's okay. We're in such a bad spot already. I guess I block one of them so I can have Spell Stutter for 2, which means I can attack with 1, but I don't want a Ninja here. Pretty sure we're dead if they have like any spells in hand. Flame Breather, sure. Block Snacker. Cast a Robbery. I'll Spell Stutter it, knowing they have surely a way to kill us, or at the very least kill a fairy. Fiery Temper. I could snuff this out, but then they just cast this at our face and we're probably dead. So I guess we won't do that. They might just be casting it at our face anyway, if they have a Fire Blast or something. No, they'll go for this guy. And another Fiery Temper and a Fire Blast. Okay, we're dead. This Red Madness list is starting to feel like a combo deck. Yup, another reason to hate it. We all agree. All right, we get rid of these, and even this. We get all of these. This one looks okay. I think we just cycle Lorien for blue, and then we pass. If they plot a robbery here, I can flash in Spell Stutter and then Ninja with a Hydroblast. If they don't do anything, I'll just pass. Play a landscape, so if I want to, I can Brainstorm and find our swamp. Ooh, they're doing nothing, including not even hitting a land drop. That's great for us. Put back 2 islands. Shuffle. They might discard like a Fiery Temper or a Snacker here. I think I want to get an island, even though we need black mana at some point, and just cycle this Lorien for the Aquifer, because all blue is just so important in this match, especially with the Hydroblasts. I had a fun, Vision of Love, now that we're tapped out, on their own turn. Okay, you know, they got me. I didn't expect that one. They could get a Snacker back here. Nice. They still got to discard another one. It's a Lava Dart. Okay, interesting. Could just play a Mystic, but then I don't have a Hydroblast for it. So that seems bad. I had a fun, definitely not combo game last night, you might appreciate. I attacked with 3 Goblin and Narcomancers and 3 Familiars each with a +1/+1 counter and haste. Totally aggro. Yeah, and I'm sure you got all of those out by just naturally casting them one turn after another on curve, and not by uber ramping on turn 3 or whatever. Let's Fairies here. Augur and a Lorien. Sure, we can keep those both. Always play my spells fair, obviously. Yeah, of course. Can't believe I would suspect you of anything else. Another Lava Dart. Good Spell Stutter the Dart. I think it's fine. It's not the most value, but it also is the safest thing. Like, they would have to kill both of these to be able to get the Dart. Hey, look, if they have the way to kill them both, that's fine. Honestly, not the worst for us. Play a Mystic with a Hydroblast next turn. Or I guess we have Augur with a Lorien on top. Still countered the Dart. It fizzled. It wasn't technically countered because I didn't have any fairies on board when it resolved, but it did fizzle. Yeah, I think we'll Mystic here. Do you dislike blue-white familiars? You know, Rem, I appreciate that you're trying to get me canceled in every way possible. Please spell out every single deck you hate and why, and the people who play them too. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of playing against blue-white familiars. It's a little different because it's much more of a control deck with a combo finish, so it's much more just like playing against a control deck until the end. Interesting. With this on the stack, they're going to Pyroblast this. I guess because I could Pyro this or Hydro this, and then if they have another Pyro, they can do that and decide not to Madness, but I mean, we're definitely going to try to protect it. I'm taking all of this personally. You're literally attacking all of my decks. Blame Rem. I'm just answering the questions in chat. Yeah, they do have the second Pyro. Okay, but then they waste the Fiery Temper, so it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's not great, but like, yeah, it's okay. Could be worse. Oh, and they have a Lava Dart, sure. Hey, I made it clear. It's not as bad of a deck to play against as some other combo decks where, like, I have to be worried about the combo on turn, 3 or 4 or whatever, because it's a lot later of a deck. I think I'm just going to Lorien here, and then ideally we can find some more counterspells and just bury them in advantage. Since we're trying to get you canceled now, do counterspells make the game more fun? I think counterspells make the game more fun. That might be, I guess, opposite what you're expecting, since I seem to hate, whatever. But, like, if you're playing a deck and you get counterspelled 7 times in a row, no, that doesn't feel great, for sure. But it, I don't know, it could be interesting. I probably want to Augur the Hydro and then get a Gurmag down. Oh, but I also want a Fairies here. But I also want to have the Hydro up this turn. And I want to play this Aquifer. There's too many things. I think actually I'm going to do it like this. Gurmag. But yeah, I think counterspells are very interesting because they're so powerful, but they need to be played at specific times, which makes it so that they are, kind of worse sometimes than a kill spell. But I think counterspells are very interesting, to be honest. Not much bad to say about them. What about countered only 6 times in a row? Well, then you're just a crybaby. If you don't like 6 counters in a row, it's 7 or more, I think, is when you're allowed to start complaining about it. What do you think about free spells? I think free spells are interesting as long as they have a proper cost. We're definitely going to counter this. I wouldn't want to have Force of Will and stuff like that in the format. Foil is interesting enough. It's pretty bad, I will say, but like it sometimes sees some play in like Familiars or something that can draw a ton of cards. Snuff Out's clearly maybe a little too powerful. Maybe it should be 5 life. Maybe it should be something else. But I think free spells are awesome as long as you appropriately cost them. Hello, I have a cat here. You know, there are also plenty of free spells that we don't talk about as much, but are great in niche situations. Things like Mutagenic Growth was great in Mono Blue Fairies for a while. Sees play in your Kiln Fiend decks. I've been testing it in some decks. Gut Shot is a really cool one that sees some play in sideboards. I guess I'll take a counterspell. Rouse is just a bad Mutagenic Growth, but that one's kind of cool. I wish it was a little better. There's a lot more free counterspell or free spells than people give credit for. Remosian Rally sees a little bit of play sometimes in White Weenie or other white aggro decks, which is really cool. What other free spells are there? Have you dropped Food Pest from rotation? As in like a deck I play a lot? I just put a video up on the channel with it this week. It just takes a while to get those matches in, so sometimes I play it less frequently, like once a month on the channel, as opposed to a lot of the other decks that I play that's like once every week or two. But no, Food Pest is still a deck I really enjoy, and I put up videos with it. I love Daze being banned exactly where it belongs. Correct. Cards like Daze are too powerful. There's not enough barrier to entry for it. It's basically just, are you playing a blue deck? Ban all those blue untap spells. Garbage. Yeah, if you're saying Cloud of Fairies and Perigee Beckoner, those are too good for sure. But we still have some cards like that. Unwind is a cool one that sees some play in Tron decks. You know, I was hoping they would do like a Faithless Looting turn one, but whatever. Spinning Darkness. Love Spinning Darkness. It's very powerful, great in the right deck, but its cost is very big. You basically have to be playing a mono black deck, or like Golgari Gardens where it's like 90% black. And I really like when the cost is, obviously the actual cost, if you have to hardcast it, should be very expensive. Snuff Out for 4 mana I think is good, could maybe be a little more. To be honest, Spinning Darkness being 6 mana is kind of a lot. I think that one should be like, I think 4 mana is pretty reasonable for that effect. But yeah. So we'll leave up Hydroblast here. And then things like Mutagenic Growth, like it's, you know, not even a giant growth. It definitely shouldn't cost tons of mana. I like that it's just a green. But if you want to hardcast it, you do have to be in green, which is still something. Hello. I'm going to Brainstorm and not hit a land drop. Well, that's annoying. We have kind of the tools to win, but we need to hit lands first. So I think Ninja's got to go. Brainstorm's got to go. No, that digs me the most. I think Augur. Problem is I'm going to have to preordain now, and if I don't hit a blue land, I'm going to be in some trouble. Snap. Snap is, I would say, right on the line. I don't think it needs to get banned or anything. I'm not saying that, but it's very powerful. But it only sees play in a couple of decks. That's really annoying. So I guess I'm playing a Relic here. It sees play, obviously, and is a very big factor in familiars, and then it gets played in Mono Blue Fairies. But like Snap's cost is that it is just a bounce spell, you know, for a creature for 2 mana, and unlike Cloud of Fairies or Perigee Beckoner or something, if the target gets removed, you don't get to untap. So like I think the costs are big enough there. Yeah, we're just gonna lose just because we didn't hit any lands. We kept a fine hand, right? I mean, it was Bojuka Bog, which is slow, tapped, not blue, Lorien Revealed. But then we had preordained Brainstorm. No, just the Brainstorm at first, I guess, because I would have preordained first. Well, I guess I got to Brainstorm and hope I hit a blue land. Untapped. Okay, we do. We don't need a million Augurs. We don't really even need one. Every time you hardcast Spinning Darkness, 2 free casts are queued for the future. Yeah, I wish. I guess I play a Fairy Seer to block here, and then we have Relic. Then we don't have Hydroblast up, which is so bad. I guess I could take a hit for 2, and then we have Hydroblast, but I feel like we're just going to die there. I think we're going to die no matter what. I think Fairy Seer is the play, unfortunately, and get rid of those Augurs. Pass. To me, free spells are good designs if it is possible to anticipate them. Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. I kind of agree. Yeah, that's annoying. Like, something like Spinning Darkness, you're saying, I assume, where it's like, oh, they could be playing it, and if they are, you know, I don't want to put this 3rd card in their graveyard because then they'll be able to cast it. Stuff like that is definitely interesting when you can play around it. I have a Grab the Prize. We'll crack this, see if we die at the end step. I mean, we already were tapped out of blue, so I'm not sure why they would wait here, but if we untap, theoretically, we could maybe survive. We do untap. It would have started with an island, though. Come on, dude. Because I need a blocker for this, but then also I need Hydroblast for them, and they have 6 cards in hand. Okay, quite sure we're dead. Yeah, Remosian Rally being another one where it's like an untapped card, an untapped creature you can try to kill in response, stuff like that. Pyroblast. I guess I spell stutter it. This is the highest upside if somehow we live. This would be a nice way to do it. I guess I keep Lorien. Ninja doesn't really matter. Like, it is possible to anticipate Spirit of Darkness, Remosian Rally, or Snap, but not Snuff Out, in my opinion. Yes. I mean, I do think it's possible to anticipate Snuff Out. It's just the barrier is so much lower, right? Because if they looked at me right now, they know I can't have Snuff Out because I don't have a Swamp on the field, even with black mana. So they can anticipate it. But you're right. Like, having a Swamp on the field is so much less of a cost that I agree. I think something like that's a little bit too low. Another way they can anticipate it is, do they have 4 life to spend? Because obviously if they're at 4 or lower, they won't. So there are some costs there, or like things that they can analyze, but I agree. It's very low cost. I don't know if I want to Snuff Out yet, but I guess I can shuffle it away with the Loriens if I don't want it. So I might as well keep it, because if I do really want it, if they're elves or something. Yeah, White Weenie, Snuff Out's fine. Aquifer and pass. Yeah, I definitely do think like the fact that Snuff Out, you could just be playing against any black opponent at all, and they could have they could have a Snuff Out is definitely pretty annoying. Elite Interceptor. Cycle for an island. I'm not thinking Snuff Out's too good for the format. I was just thinking about designs. No, I agree with you. I do think Snuff Out is clearly a little too ubiquitous, and so it should have been something slightly different. And yet it does still have drawbacks, right? Non-black is a big drawback. Paying 4 life is a cost that matters. I think we're going to save 3 life here, well, 1 life here, and then kill this because this has a card draw floating. Yeah, so there are costs to it, but I agree it's a little too good. Maybe it should cost 5 mana to actually hardcast. Maybe it should have cost 5 life. The regenerate clause is pretty irrelevant in this format, but maybe it could not have that. Maybe it could be more restricted, like, you know, the card would be way worse if it was like CMC 4 or less, but that's another way it could have been restricted. All right. Do I want to brainstorm? Probably not until my turn. Spell Stutter. Let's go for a brainstorm. Sure, I'll show a Snuff Out. Actually, I don't even know if I want a Snuff Out. Maybe Lorien Revealed, and then I Augur here. That's fine. Augur blocks. I'm tapping out, but I do have a Snuff Out. Crack a Clue. To me, having an untapped Swamp was another option. Yeah, that's a good one. That would be a big difference. It's still free if you have an untapped Swamp, but obviously that means you can't play it on turn 1 or whatever. That could be pretty interesting. Well, turn 1 with a tap land, that is. Why are we arguing about how unfair Snuff Out when Gutter Snipe and Fire Blast are out there? We're not allowed to have a discussion about a card's power level other than Gutter Snipe and Fire Blast. Is that what you're saying? Because I think that's a little silly. We talk plenty about Gutter Snipe on this stream that I think we can talk about Snuff Out once. Fire Blast is another free spell we weren't talking about before, though. That one's pretty good. But its alternative cost, its actual cost, is very appropriate. 6 mana is outrageously expensive for an effect, so that's good. Maybe the card's too good, but like I don't think it needs to be 3 mountains. 2 mountains is already a lot. So we can, but I hope that this discussion will not end up with maybe it's too powerful for Pauper. Well, the one person in chat talking with me about it specifically said I don't think it's too powerful for the format. So I don't think we're going to end up there. Looks like they got a Battle Screech. Oh wait, they're convoking. What is this? 6 mana convoke spell. Triplicate Spirits. That's crazy. Where is my Suffocating Fumes? Sneaky Snagger's another unfair free card. I don't think it quite fits what we're talking about, but yes, it is in some ways free, and is a pretty good one, I've heard. Brainstorm, try to get that Suffocating Fumes. Cast down, double Spell Stutter's good. I don't need the Bog quite yet. I think I do this. Pass. The biggest trick WotC ever pulled was convincing us Gutter Snipe was fair. Yeah, I mean, Gutter Snipe was legal for a while before it was good enough to be played, quote unquote, but that's also because Kuldotha was around, and there was no reason to go searching for a better mono red deck when Kuldotha was so busted. Well, we can block here, and then if they got, yep, there's Leo, I can snuff him out. Could they not afford Battle Screech? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, technically it makes more the first go round, and you can convoke it to make it cheaper, but it's an interesting one. I think also I'll cast down 1 bird, well, spirit, because we are a little low on life. We could, we don't want to take that every turn. Rafine's Informant, hoping they replay that Inspector and I can Spell Stutter it. Discard a Veteran. That's some value for our, nice, for our Bajuga Bog that's on top. And I really wanted to Spell Stutter just so I have a blocker now for these guys. So I think I'm just going to Lorien. It is kind of bad. I'm going to do it. It is kind of bad if they, what am I trying to say? if they have Guardian's Pledge, because I had Dispel up for it last turn, which I was anticipating, and they didn't use it. And now we're tapping out. But oh well. Hope there's none of that, and we'll survive till next turn. Thraben Charm the Sprite. I wonder if it survives 10 damage. We'll take 5 here, unless they got something else. Skyfisher. Sneaky Snacker's fine. I will die on this hill. Yeah, it's a lot easier to die on a hill when you're getting paid from Big Snack, or you're getting all that snacker money in your pocket. You know it's wrong in your heart. 6 mana. Yeah, so I can do everything here. Brainstorm. Put back a Dispel, I guess. So they don't know about the actual counterspell. But we are kind of dying to those flyers. We'll take a cast down over the Dispel for sure. Alright, we'll cast down the Skyfisher before blocks, so there can't be a Leonardo. We're going to double block the Informant here. Try to take 3, counter anything that interferes with this, like a Thraben Charm or a Guardian's Pledge. Prismatic Strands. I can counter that, but they can flash it right back. So I don't think that actually does as much good. So I'm going to let it go, I guess. And we'll lose a guy then. I'll pass. That's pretty bad. So we block here, we go to 1. By the way, was your favorite card in Magic? Mine is Merfolk Trickster. Played it in Standard. I mean, my favorite card that I always say is my favorite card, and it probably is Goblin Arsonist, which is a 1-mana 1/1 from Rise of the Eldrazi originally, that when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And the reason it's my favorite is because Rise of the Eldrazi was the first set that I played, and it's basically what taught me what value is, because I was like, oh, my 1/1 can trade for 2 1/1s. That's incredible. And so I was a big fan of that. So like nostalgically and all that stuff, that's what it is. But as far as like actually favorite in terms of gameplay and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm trying to think what some of my favorite cards are. Augur Bolas for sure. No, I'm just kidding. Give me an Arms of Adar I don't have in the deck. Perfect. Or I don't have in the main deck. Core Skyfisher, honestly, at this point might be one of my favorites. Such a good card. Such a fun card. I love the designs of cards that are built with drawbacks that you then find a way to turn it into a buff. Obviously, Skyfisher is not the hardest one to make that work, but like, yeah, it's undercosted because it's got a drawback, and then you turn that drawback into a power up, and suddenly it's like the best thing ever. Big fan of that. Second Sunrise, that's a very good one. Personally, I think Snacker contributes to deck diversity while not being hard to deal with. I think not being hard to deal with is not accurate. Are there ways to deal with it if you have the exact perfect card at the right time, like a Fairy Macabre? Sure. But you have to either be playing Fairy Macabre, or you have to have Graveyard Hate that's 1 mana, because they can do it on turn 2, and you have to have an untapped land, like a Rotten Reunion, for example. That's pretty tough, so I don't know about not hard to deal with. And I also don't think deck diversity is something you can say when the card in question is what's making decks less diverse, right? I saw some statistic that was like it's the most played creature in the format, and it's in like 25% of meta decks. That's an outrageously high amount of decks. All right, as much as I love Thorn, I think it probably needs to go, and probably a couple Snuff Outs. I like Fade Away. It's such a cool concept of a board wipe of mono blue. Fade Away is a really cool one for sure. I wish there were more of those in Magic, cards with drawbacks. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think obviously there are cards that are just good, right? Alorian Revealed is just incredible or whatever. But I think a lot of power in decks and things like that, like if you make a generically good card, you generally have to cost it appropriately, and then it isn't very exciting. It's much more interesting when there's a huge drawback or restriction or something that you have to build around, and then that card gets really good in that situation because it's so cheap for what it does. And like Skyfisher is one example of that, but there's plenty more that I definitely have at the top of my mind right now. Sounds okay. My favorite card is Sneaky Snacker. It is completely fair and fun to play with and against. This message has been paid for by the Covert Cruncher Council. You know, that sounds totally reasonable. Yes, it's played in a ton of decks, but I feel like we wouldn't be seeing decks like Boros Spirits, etc. if Snacker wasn't supporting them. That might be true to some degree, but it's still, I don't know. It's still not necessarily like, I guess it's deck diversity, but if every single one of those decks has the same Snacker 12-card package or whatever, that, you know, it looks like different decks on the surface, and then they're really just all the same deck. So that seems not that beneficial. All right, let's brainstorm here. They already used their mana, so we know nothing shady's going on. Okay, so I'm going to have to... I'm doing this now because I need to sack this for black, so I have Arms of Adar available, which means I could Snuff Out here. I don't think I'm going to use that on 1-1, or 1-2, excuse me. I think Gurmag... Well, I'm not shuffling these away, so I guess I'm... Well, actually, no, I am, because I have this. I was looking at my hand. I have no shuffle, but I have shuffle right here. So, do I want to shuffle any of these away? Yes, because we want to get the swamp. Island is kind of what I want to do, but that seems a little risky. Maybe it is Snuff Out, and I just kind of chump for a little bit. I don't know. We'll grab our Swamp here. My favorite Magic card is either Rasputin, Dreamweaver, or Fear of Isolation. Is Fear of Isolation the snacker? Or it's not snacker. Now you got me saying it. Is Fear of Isolation the Core Skyfisher in blue that has a cost instead of just an ETB? Because if so, that's a pretty cool one too that I'm a big fan of. I think we're going to Seer and then Spell Stutter. 12 cards to get a tapped 2/1 flyer, most likely on your turn. Yeah. Wow. That's a bit of an oversimplification. 12 cards often to get a 2/1 flyer that you didn't pay for, deal 2 damage, and draw fresh 2 cards. You know, it's a big difference. I think I'm just going to take this because we're probably going to arms them next turn if they have, you know, if they just play some more guys that die to arms. I feel like this one doesn't die to arms, so I'm going to Spell Stutter it. My favorite card. No, please. Then again, I guess I have an Augur here. Yeah, I don't think I need to arms now. Plus, I have an Augur that I know is grabbing at least a Brainstorm. I think I'm going to go for that Lorien, actually. Do I want to hold up Counterspell for another Skyfisher? I don't think so. I think we want to just do this. I'll attack with the Spell Start. I feel like there are decks that incidentally run Snacker, Boris Tribe, Naya Gates that could focus on other threats, and the 2 Madness decks which started around the concept of Snacker Madness as an engine. Yes, I think I agree. Like, yeah, I think Tribe and Gates could probably find other cards that would do pretty well. Would they be just as good? Probably not. That's what happens when you ban a card, is the other cards get better. There's a worse card to be putting in its place, but I don't think it's going to be that much worse. I'm just going to block like this. And then the red decks, I think, will take a big hit, but I think Rakdos doesn't need the hit, but it would just be incidental. I think red does need the hit. There's another Skyfisher. I don't see how it's different from like so many decks playing Force in Legacy or Vintage. I mean, we're not Legacy or Vintage. I think when you start comparing formats, like, why do we have this card legal when this other format does or has something similar? Like, I think that's totally different. I will say we already have cards like Force, right? Snuff Out, Counterspell, Cast Down. Those cards are seen in probably just as many decks as as Force is in those. Maybe not quite as many, but pretty close. We already have those cards, and then Snacker's just a little different because, like, as good as Counterspell is, as good as Cast Down is, they're 1-for-1s. Snacker is more value than that. Sometimes it could be a 1-for-1, but even if you like Fairy Macabre to exile the Snacker from their yard, you didn't 1-for-1 them because they didn't spend a card to get that Snacker in the yard in the first place most of the time, so you actually just lost a card, you know? They did make the block. The only way this can really go bad is if they have Remosian Rally. And they don't, so that was great. They took the bait. And who doesn't like to sneak snacks? I bet you have a snack off camera right now. You know, Ben? You stop it. Because it's actually a package that takes up a large amount of your deck. I also love Spell Stutter and all the creatures with a special effect, spell effect in ETB. Yeah, I'm a huge Spell Stutter fan too as well, obviously. Really, you think red needs to be powered down? Yes. I feel like it's not the best deck in the format, just overplayed on MTGO. I think it's the best deck in the format by quite a bit. Maybe I'm just wrong on everything, though, because I seem to be the only one here with my takes. I mean, you can voice your opinions, and if it's in the minority, that's totally fine. I'll just say if I disagree with them. But is his mono red way more prevalent on MTGO than anywhere else? Yeah, for sure. But it's not just MTGO. Every single time I go to a bigger tournament, too. Like, my locals, I almost never have that many mono red players. There's a few, but there's not a ton. But every time I go to a big tournament, mono red is the number 1 deck played. So it's more in competitive environments. It's the most prominent deck, I think. And yes, it's very powerful, and I think it could definitely afford a nerf. And I think Snacker is probably the one to get nerfed. They're attacking with a Skyfisher. That's fine. I do need to find a kill spell for it, but Ninja's nice. Swing with the team. I'll Ninja the Augur. Hypocritical Snuck Snack. I haven't snacked on anything during this whole stream, and I never would. They're going to Charm. I guess I was going to say, if I had a kill spell for this, but I'd need 2 kill spells. I think we counter this. I can still hold up another counter. The fact that I don't necessarily have the Augur down unless I want to tap out is not great. Arms is pretty good. Yeah, I think I want the blocker. I mean, the chances we die here are almost nothing. I think I'm going to take the Cast Down. Snuff Out I probably don't need. And frankly, in a situation where I tap out, the best case scenario for them is usually like Battle Screech. And with our Arms of Adar, I'm not too worried about that. Personally, I would consider Grixis, Dimir Fae, and Terror as better decks overall, just require more work to learn and have less cheese potential. Yeah, I mean, there are decks that I think, by cheese potential, I think that's a bit of an oversimplification. I think it's more that, like, Mono Red Madness doesn't take as much skill. Not that it's an easy deck to play perfectly. There's no real deck in Pauper or any format that's just insanely easy to play perfectly. I think I'm just going to kill their whole team. But if it's easier to play, they're going to Thraben Charm something in response. That's fine. At some point, if a deck is easier to play and do really well with, there's still like a power level there, right? Because like generally, someone who with better skill than another player should beat that player. Obviously, one of the best parts about Magic is the variance, and that because of that variance, you can have a worse player beat a better player. But if you have a deck like Mono Red Madness that doesn't take that much skill to learn, and then suddenly you can just luck into wins left and right, which is kind of how it plays, and that happens all the time, which it kind of does, then, maybe that's an indication that the deck's a little too powerful. So I'm going to get a land there, but whatever. I'll just get an island here. I personally think Mono Red is better than all the decks that you mentioned. I think Terra is not even amazing in the meta right now. Like, there's a reason that we have not been seeing it very much. We did use our Arms of Adar, so now the fact that the Battle Screech is resolving might be problematic. Yeah, we haven't seen it that much in the meta, which is partially because I don't think it's as good right now. I don't know. Yeah, we'll do. Also, a Jeskai player, and I like my matchup against Red, so there's probably a bit of bias there. That could be for sure. I do agree about Red being crazy, prevalent in bigger events. My last win a duel is 40% Red. Yeah, it's extremely skewed in the bigger events, I think. Brainstorm. Agony Warp's a nice one. I think we'll just put these on top with no desire to get rid of them. I just would rather have access to an array of spells here. I also feel like when I look at results, there's some red at the very top and then most of the red near the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some of that often where people assume a deck is amazing just because it won a challenge or whatever. And then I think with like the Seeker Bow combo, that was a big thing. Like it won a lot of the challenges and then it also got 0th and, 4th and 8th and 12th. And it did a lot worse than people were giving it credit for. But that's not always the case. Block a bunch of birds here. We can do this. Trade off for a bunch. But I also think Red is consistently doing very well. Like, it's not always the top deck or like the top deck in a challenge or an event or whatever, but it often does very well. Yeah. My hot take is Red Madness is one of the most difficult deck I played in my life, and I have multiple top 8 challenges with it. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting take for sure. I played a little bit. I haven't played it enough to try to master it, and I didn't feel like, again, people are always saying like, especially burn decks are like way too easy to play, and I don't necessarily think that. And they have another Battle Screech here. Oh, they have a Triplicate Spirits. They're the ones that are playing that, right? But I don't necessarily think it's the most difficult. Red Axis, Red Rally, Madness are all really good. Yep. There's a few different flavors of red you can play. So I can attack with everything. I have counter spells, so I don't need to be worried about their stuff killing us, like with a pump spell. We can get in for at least 4 and then kind of put them on the back foot. Maybe I just attack with these. Snacker doesn't feel like what lucks into wins, though. To me, at least. I feel like the luck wins come off top. Decking Lava Dart, Fire Blast with Pinger, Gutter Snipe on the board. I think it's both, but the fact that your opponent has to take into consideration both of those at every moment is a lot. I think Snacker absolutely lucks into wins. Very obviously, if you like turn 1 Faithless Looting, discard 2 Snackers, into turn 2, grab the prize, another Snacker, and you get 3 Snackers, like obviously that's going to be like a lucky win. But even just getting 1 Snacker on turn 2, your opponent happens to not have a kill spell for, or just happens to have kill spells for it, but if they kill it, you just bring it right back every single turn. I think that's absolutely just lucking into a win, you know? Calling Red Axe really good feels like an exaggeration. I think Red Axe is a lot better than people give it credit for, so I'm not sure I would agree with that. It won the win-a-duel. Yeah, I mean, any deck can win anything, but I do think it's a pretty good deck and a little underexplored. I mean, it felt so difficult to play it perfectly. I agree it is easy to learn. Yeah, I got you. Obsidian Acolyte. We'll counter it, and Arms of Adar would be a nice draw, although I think it's another counter spell. Don't we know that? Yeah. So we're taking 2. I attack with everything they get in for 1, but they can't kill me if they attack with everything because I have counter spells. So is it worth it to get in for 1? Probably, because then I could maybe just find a kill spell, get in for lethal. I don't know. The thing that gives me pause about liking Snacker is that it's the reason people it's the reason people need to side in Grave Hate against Madness. It's another thing to dilute your opponent's main strategy. I think one of the best parts about Mono Red Madness is that your opponent has to have life gain, just like any board wipe. Okay, a counter, I didn't anticipate. They have to have life gain, just like against any burn deck, is what I meant to say if I didn't say that. But they also need spot removal, and they need Graveyard Hate. So I'm often bringing in 9 cards for Mono Red Madness, or like bringing in 5, but I don't want to cut. You know, against Rally or any other burn deck, I'm often like cutting my single target removal or my graveyard hate or whatever. But you can't cut any of that is one of the problems. And yeah, it makes it really hard to sideboard against because you just want to sideboard everything. Crack a clue. I will say about the snacker package is the fact that bringing it back once digs into more snackers, and ways to bring it back does feel a little bit sus. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, Ninja off the top should be lethal. Even if they have a Strands, I have double counterspell. If they have a Thraben Charm, I have a counterspell, so that's fine too. So it should be lethal. There's a Strands, which will counter. They're going to flash it back, and we have another counter. Oh, they didn't even try to flash it back, but I had the counterspell, so it didn't matter. All right, we still maybe have a shot. Let's see if we can do this again. The only reason I even built, and I'm considering playing Madness at Genesis, is because it feels so strong, despite the hate decks will inevitably be running for it. Yeah, I also considered taking Madness because I think it's just so busted of a deck. I was talking to my brother about the decks a little bit, and he said that, of course, I was talking about all the decks I was trying to bring to beat the top decks, and he said, of course, there's an old just an old saying with pro players, which is like, do you want to play the deck to beat the best deck, or do you just want to be playing the best deck? And so I almost thought about bringing Madness for that reason too, and decided against it. But yeah, it's just too good that I even thought about it. All right, let's see if we can get a Ninja turn 2. No, but I will take a Fairies here. After saying this, I will still play Elves at the next Geddon. Fair? The entire meta revolves around Madness Burn. I have to be able to deal with it in some way. Yeah, exactly. Next year, can we get Genesis on the West Coast? I live in Oregon, and it's too far away. I'm in no way responsible for the production and the setup of it, but I've heard that they are not necessarily tied to a specific location. So I would love for it to be more Midwest, but maybe, West Coast could be good. I mean, I'm having to drive about 8 hours to it, so it's not close, but it's also doable. Just griping. No, I understand. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to go to it because got to take off like 2 extra days just for driving, but I would love for more people to be able to go to it. All right. We need to survive. I don't think I need another Dispel. I'll keep a Counterspell. Need to be able to survive until this Arms of Adar. I'll leave these back. Just notice that the opponent is running Elite Interceptor. Fun. They are, indeed. Just going to double block here. If they have like a Strands or a Guardian's Pledge, I have a Dispel for it. And then I just get to trade 1 for 1. And they haven't gotten their card yet out of it, so it's good for us. 1 mana. And yeah, if they try to Thraben Charm one of them, then I got a Dispel for that too. Although if we're going to end up Arms of Adaring them, maybe I should just trade for the Informant so I take less. But this keeps their card advantage down because they didn't get the card out of that. It's already so late, I need to go or my girlfriend will kill me. Thanks for hanging out, Ends. We'll see you later. All right, we'll swing for 1 here. I'll counter anything that doesn't die to an Arms of Adar, but if I'm lucky, they'll Battle Screech and flash it back, and I'll just let that all go. But it looks like they're attacking. But Skyfisher is exactly what we're countering. All right, second Lorien means I want to just cast the first, or excuse me, cycle the first, so that I can cast the second one next turn. I might have to just Arms of Adar the single Informant if they don't play some more creatures, though. Well, I guess they tried, but if they don't play some more creatures that die to it. A hard cast to Leonardo. That's annoying, because that does not die here. Could just Lorien Revealed, chump. If I Arms, I'm just absorbing 3 damage. Well, I guess 4, because this guy loses a power. Yeah, actually, that kind of sold me on it. It's kind of not my favorite to use it as a single target removal spell, but I'm not going to chump 1 damage. It could be a bunch if they get like a Battle Screech or something beforehand, but we'll see. Looks like just 1, which should mean they have no creatures to play. Yep. I'm gonna Lorien here. It's a bit awkward. I want to play the Swamp first because if I only have untapped black, I wouldn't be able to play any blue spell that I get. But I wanted to play the tap land. But we drew a whole bunch of lands. We got a landscape. So if we get a Brainstorm, we can turn these into some real cards, maybe. Otherwise, we might be in some trouble here. Take 1 from the Leonardo. Seems like they're not drawn too hot, which is good for us, but we really need to draw something better because we're not drawing great either. Counter spell. I also really don't want to chump because if we get a Ninja, I could obviously just transform it. And while we're trading 1 for 1, I don't mind that, but obviously if it hits harder, it's going to be tough to deal with. Swing for 1. All right, they're going to pass. Augur's great. So we're going to start with that because I could find like a Brainstorm into a Ninja or a Preordain into a Ninja, but it's also great because it's a blocker. Cast Down does not kill Leonardo, but it's still it's an okay card to get. Luckily, it can kill other creatures that will hopefully shrink the Leonardo, so it might be fine. This looks like a Battle Screech, which I don't have an Arms of Adar, so I am going to counter. So that stops it until they get 2 more creatures. Preordain. Finds a Bog. I actually want Bog with the Battle Screech, so I think we keep those both. But I'm going to Brainstorm. Put back Dispel Land. So I could shuffle. I don't really need a Dispel. Yeah, actually, let's shuffle. I'd rather have a shot at drawing something else, even if it's not guaranteed. So Augur finds a Brainstorm, sure. I'll Bojuka Bog their Screech, just so that if they get like a Inspector into a Crack-a-Clue Inspector, although I'll be probably spell stuttering the first Inspector I see, so. They are just going to pass. They're going to attack. The fact that they might even attack means they probably have a Guardian's Pledge, and they're wondering if they want to use it just to kill one Augur. I'll take a Snuff out here just for if I do want to kill this Leonardo, which I guess I actually should. I'll just kill it now. Don't even need to pay. This way I can attack for 3. Speed up our clock a lot. Maybe should have Brainstormed because I don't think I played a land, but whatever. Inspector, we're going to spell stutter that. We got him dead in 2 turns. Relic. Go for a Brainstorm. Put back these 2. Then we'll hard cast a Lorien. Play an Aquifer. Play a Relic. Pass the turn. This will make him exile a card, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Oh, I guess they could have Prismatic Strands. Guardian's Pledge. They have 2 Guardian's Pledge. Yeah, rough for them. All right, well, we got a 3-2. We started really strong with 2-0, 4-0, and then things started to go a little worse, but still pretty decent. I'm trying to think if there's anything specifically I want to change. Probably not. I don't know. I think that we did all right with the matches that we got presented. I'm sure we could have done a little bit better against some of them, especially like Fogtron, but what are you going to do? In any case, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.